Hey y'all, how's it going? So I figured today I'm going to do a video on 5 to 10 plants that I think are some must-haves in the garden. I'm going to go through and show y'all the garden and what some of them look like and different things. So we are in South Carolina, so we're also in Garden Zone 8, A and B. So we have a really long garden season, so there's some things that we can do succession planting with. But there's some things like cold type weather plants that we don't really get to do too much in the springtime because our spring just gets too hot too quick. So we end up having to do it in the fall, and we let things kind of overwinter because our winters are a lot milder than what a lot of the northern climate has, and even the mountain region. We're out here where we are. The first thing I think is a really must-have is potatoes. You can get those in the ground, get them started. You got 60 to 100 days before they're harvestable, so it's a pretty quick time, especially for the 60-day ones. This year we did not do seed potatoes. We actually just got potatoes from the grocery store and said, hey, we're going to give it a shot and try them. And they're going to be coming up soon for us to harvest, and we'll do a video on that as well. But next thing is sweet potatoes. So once your potatoes basically grow out and you harvest them, you can toss in some sweet potatoes during the summer because they love the heat, and get a second kind of harvest out of that, and then do the potatoes again. Potatoes going to give you a lot of your nutritional values that you need for your body to be sustainable. So the next thing, beans. Beans, you can do green beans or dry beans. The dry beans, you can use those to get you through wintertime. So grow different types of beans, bush beans or pole beans. And something to go along with the pole beans is corn. So you can do the three sister method and grow corn with your bush or with your pole beans, and let the pole beans grow up onto the corn stalk. And then underneath your corn, you can do squash. You could do summer squash, which is like your zucchinis and your yellow squash, or you could do winter squash. Those squashes are more of like your acorn squash, your spaghetti squash, the harder squashes that will store longer. Basically, you can grow those underneath it. You could even grow melons underneath it. It's because it's basically going to do like a ground cover, so it kind of helps to hold in the moisture from everything, as far as the sun and things like that. If you're from the South, okra. If you're not from the South, okra. A lot of people I know don't like okra because it does get like a sliminess to it. In my family, I'm the only one that really likes the sliminess, and I think it's because I was southern raised. Where my husband's from California, so he doesn't really like the sliminess of it. So we do like fried okra. I'll put it in stews whenever I make it, almost like a gumbo-y type thing. So everybody eats it that way. Our kids, they'll only eat it really if it's fried. You could also pickle it. That's really yummy. Tomatoes. Tomatoes are a big thing. Alright, I think I got it working again. I dropped my phone and it stopped recording. I'm thinking I'm recording this whole time and just talking to the phone. Hi.
Hi.
You gonna come out with me?
Sure. Okay.
I'm doing a video of like the top 10 things to grow in a garden.
Oh, cool.
So, tomatoes, big yield on a small plant or a single plant. So after tomatoes is peppers. Same thing. Grow peppers. You can get one plant, get like a whole ton load of peppers off of it, And you can make spicy peppers like jalapenos, or you can do sweet peppers like bell peppers. If you do bell peppers, you can stuff them. Do all kind of neat things with them as far as meal-wise. Get you through a long time. Carrots. That's another one. Okay, carrot seeds. Y'all, I had to learn a new thing with carrots. So, with the carrots, you water the ground, and then you put the seeds down, and then you take a piece of plywood and you lay a piece of plywood over the top of the seeds for a few days. If you don't have plywood, if you've got a dog kennel, if you've got
anything flat,
and that the sun cannot penetrate it, so you want to lay that over the carrot seeds in the dirt for a couple of days, and just kind of peek at it every so often to see if it's germinating or not. And once you see some greenery on, hello. But once you see some greenery show up, that's going to tell you that they're germinated. So then you can remove whatever it is that you had covering it to block the sunlight out. And what it's doing is it's holding in the moisture, plus it's keeping the seeds from blowing away if you get a little wind breeze or whatever, because they are so tiny they can go off with the wind. So next, peas. Peas is one thing here in the south, because it gets so hot so quick, we don't really get that much from them. So it's more of like we have to plant those in the fall and kind of like take them through the winter until we can get our hard freezes. So I tried this year with growing some peas. We got some. It's not even half of a sandwich bag, honestly. But our potatoes, grow you a whole ton of potatoes. One potato will give you a lot, because you're not just planting the whole potato as like a whole thing. You can cut it up into little sections. And when you cut it, you want to make sure that it has at least 2 eyes on each section that you're planting. And when you do cut it, you want to let it scab over. So you give it about 24 to 48 hours so it can kind of heal up before you put it in the ground, so that way it doesn't rot. So get your potatoes going. Then you got your green beans, or you got your pole beans. Pole beans, you can dry them out, make chili with it. Just have beans and rice, or just beans. Do beans with baked potato, or beans with mashed potatoes. I mean, get creative with that stuff. Squash. You know, you got your winter squashes, you got your summer squashes. Your summer squashes are going to be your zucchinis and your yellow squashes. Your winter squashes are going to be thicker skin-wise, because they're meant to be held over through longer time periods. So through the winter. Tomatoes, peppers, carrots, peas, corn, and sweet potatoes. So there's my top 10 that I really feel like, and a couple of those were extras, like dry beans, green beans. Those are really technically 2 different types of beans, but yeah. So I'm gonna walk out through the garden and kind of show y'all the area again. But just get out there and plant some of it. If you don't have a large space, utilize what you can. If you're in an apartment and all you have is literally the door stoop that you have right outside your front door, get a pot and put a tomato plant in it. And then if you want to do that, also put a pole bean. Have the pole bean do like how you do with the Three Sister with the corn. Let the pole bean grow up on top of the tomato, especially an indeterminate tomato, because that's going to get massively huge as far as the plant itself, and it's going to give you a whole bunch of yield. But use everything. Get, like, pole beans don't really need that big of an area for their root system, so you can get the really shallow and long troughs. Lay those out if you've got a banister on a porch or something, and let them grow up on there. If you're on a balcony, let them grow up on that banister of the balcony. You could get hanging pots, hang things. Plants, if you give them water and sunlight, they will grow. if you don't have that much sunlight at all, grow like your leafy greens, like your salads. I'm trying to think of some other things. Spinaches, things like that. If y'all got any ideas for anybody that's basically in an apartment or a condo, townhome, anything that they're not going to have a big space, and y'all ever experienced it, throw some ideas down there. I know when we lived in our apartment, our first apartment, all I had was the space outside of our front door. That was it. And it was on a second floor, so we had the little balcony area. And I utilized all of that space. It looked like a jungle, but we had some food. It wasn't like a lot to sustain us, but it was enough to help supplement the cost from the grocery store. And that's kind of right now what everybody's really needing right now. I mean, food cost is going insane. So just grow what you can and as good as you can. Do one pot. You got a 5-gallon bucket, do a 5-gallon bucket. I mean, drill holes in the side of it and put strawberries in there. They're kind of hard to grow at times, but they're perennial, so they're going to come back. They're not an annual, so it's not like they just die off and that's it. They will keep coming back, and they will keep getting bigger and bigger. So utilize every nook and cranny. Don't worry about spacing. Just put the stuff in there. It will grow. God intended things to grow. He intended us to eat food. Grow the garden, y'all. Now, I'm going to show y'all our garden. So, again, right here. This is why we can't do certain cold crops, because they bolt too soon. This is our spinach, and it just went bananas and bolted. But we have our carrots here, and like it looks like a lot of green right here on this carrot, but this carrot is not ready yet. Once it gets like a head coming out of the ground, like you can see a little bitty piece of it. Once that starts to come out of the ground, there'll be a whole ton of greenery, and that's going to tell you whenever it's time to pick. So it's kind of like an onion, how it kind of bolts up off of the ground. Again, our poor little peas, y'all. This heat is getting them. All right, potatoes. So this was something I learned new. So these little doodads here, that is a seed pod for a potato. And apparently, from what Google said, was that if you plant the seeds, you're not going to get an identical potato, because technically your potatoes you're putting in the ground are actually copies and duplicates of its original. So kind of dig down. So y'all can see that. There's a little potato. And so this right here was from one potato. And there's a whole bunch of potatoes down there. There's also a bunch of fire ants too. So we're going to cover that up, and then we'll come back whenever these start to die back. So these will go yellow, and then they'll die back. And that's going to tell me whenever it's time to basically pull them up and harvest them. And then as soon as I harvest them, I'm going to throw some sweet potato slips in this bed and grow some sweet potatoes. All right. Then we got the tomato bed. These ones haven't really got anything on them. Well, I take that back. This one's got a little bit happening here. But y'all, these will get huge. They'll grow up really good. They'll give you a good yield. And all you need really is like a few of them to do just enough. Same thing with your peppers. They're going to grow up. They're going to give you a good yield. And you'll be able to make salsa or hot sauce with them. Alright. So let's go over this way. We got our okra. Alright. Little bitty babies. So we got our little baby okra here. This right here is a red roselle. These I use for jellies and making kind of jam type things. And This is just a weed that needs to come out. Because I've not weeded here recently. But these okras will get like 4 to 5 feet tall, if not a little bit taller. And they will just keep producing. And these, you will be picking these multiple times a day as soon as they start to grow. And then green beans. So we've got one plant right here. Look at all those blooms. Each of those blooms is going to give us a green bean, just like this right here. All those little green beans. And they're going to get nice and long, and you can come out here with harvesting, and if you get into canning, you can can them so that way they last longer. Put them up for winter time, any of that. Alrighty. So we've got squash and we've got cantaloupe happening here for the Three Sister bed. So if you look, where was it? Oh, here it is. I put some beans in here. So these are my pole beans. These were my black ones. So these, I will let them grow all the way up, and I've got them pretty much around on both sides. The other one hasn't come up yet. But I put them around 3 per stalk to come up. And then this is the cantaloupe, and it's going to kind of cover all the ground to kind of hold in the moisture. And then the beans, they will dry, and then I will harvest those beans, and then we can use those throughout the winter for feeding the family. Let's see. Okay, so pots, something like this. Like, I know I've got herbs and stuff in here and flowers, but you could use this same pot to grow any of that and let it kind of cascade over or grow tall. So basically what I'm saying, y'all, is don't like settle for I can't do it because of where I'm at, or I don't know how. Just put it in the ground, water it, keep an eye on it, and something will happen. Hopefully it won't die on you, as long as you're keeping an eye on it and keeping it watered, and giving it good sunlight, because honestly that's all plants need. They need dirt, water, and sun, and they will do amazing. And a tip for the okra, for those of y'all that don't like the sliminess of the okra, if you pick okra and you eat it right after it's picked, the sliminess is not there. Why that is, I do not know. I've not figured that out. If anybody knows the answer to that, you could drop it in the comments and help educate us. That would be amazing. That's my little video for today.
Mama, your face is red.
I know. It's because it's hot. So, our list again, just kind of repeat it for y'all. My top 10 that I think are really good plants that I think are a must-have in any garden are potatoes, beans, dry beans or green beans, pole beans basically, or green beans, okra, squash, winter squash and summer squash, either or both.
Watermelon too.
Watermelons, yes, watermelon is a good one. So tomatoes, peppers, carrots, peas, corn, and sweet potatoes. I hope y'all have a good day. That's why I got my hat on.
I blocked the sun.
But I hope y'all have a good day. We enjoyed having y'all here, and I hope y'all plant something. Get out there and get your hands dirty and just grow.
Have a good time gardening.
All right, y'all. Bye.